Welcome back to the Insider Knowledge podcast. I'm Aikado, joined by, of course, the illustrious World Championship qualifier winner, Drizzoff, and then with
Some guy.
BaJAtak. So
Some guy.
we're doing okay here. How was, how was your guys' weekend? How you guys doing? After the last Open, that good, huh? I'll let you know. I feel great. I don't know about you
Oh,
guys.
do
I
you?
had a great weekend. I got to play some TF Nila day one. Made top cut. It was a great time. Top cut basically guaranteed me worlds, so I was very excited for
Mhm.
that. I went to the day two and I was like, okay, we'll win like one game or something. And then I don't know. I felt like after I won one, why not win a few more? And yeah, I ended up maybe scamming my way into winning an open. So.
Mhm.
Did you guys also have, similar experiences?
Yeah, I had very good. I don't know. I have kind of interesting open experience. I queued in, and then I realized that I could only win two decks, and the last deck just didn't show up. I don't know. It was weird. I played Tristana deck, and like I didn't see Tristana basically were open, so it was kind of weird. That was a weird experience. But then I kind of enjoyed the day too. I was doing 14 hours of casting. It was a lot of checks around, but overall it was very good 2 days, and I had fun in the end. Of course, kind of sad to not make it in, but in the end, I would need to win that open to qualify towards. You know, I guess I should get better, and hopefully I'm gonna win or get second place at LCQ now.
Yeah, I had a very good time. I mean, we talked previously about like I don't really like Eternal in general, but I didn't like this meta, so I decided to not play because I don't really have to. And I mean, pretty much any meta that I hate playing, I still enjoy watching. Like even these metas that I like absolutely loathe, like Siren Song, still was fun to watch, and I had fun
Mhm.
watching the Open. I watched a lot of Aikado, so
Yeah,
good
like
time.
it
Yeah.
was a lot of hype. Like it was just so many stories happening. Like so many people fighting for the points, right? Fighting for the final points to qualify for worlds. It was in EU especially, like having the finals, even Kuve against Broken Ball, that was for actually qualifying
Yeah.
to worlds. And like it was so hype. Also, EU was so and it was also hype with, for example, Fire making finals to qualify as well. So very very hype things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean this to say that like Aikado's finals that he won was not hype, but it was incredibly hype to watch like an EU finals that was just very clear cut. Winner goes to Worlds, loser does not.
Mhm.
That was really really cool to see. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah, no,
but
especially, for two people who historically haven't done particularly well in the opens, right? Like Broken Ball's had trouble breaking past like top 16, right?
yeah,
And then Kuvi, I don't know if his, made it past like top 32. It's topped quite a few, but it's sort of yeah, had
Mhm.
trouble like really making it there. So at the end of the day, both of them making it into that finals game and having the high stakes on it was really exciting to watch. And then Kuvi, assuming that they get their ladder points, is world's qualified, right?
Mhm. Yeah, looking at your lineup, you can also like to watch it, right? When you then use the two BB decks after that for your win.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I had a really fun day one. That's what I'll say. I had a really fun day one where I played Draven Vi, which is like
mhm.
a pretty fun OTK deck. And then I played Aphelios Victor, which is like one of the most fun decks of all time. I love that shit. And then TF Nila, also an incredibly fun deck that, maybe was a little bit scarier to like pick up wins with than it should have been, but it ended up working out day one. Day two, I was like, okay, I'll change things up a little bit, try and target the meta. I worked a lot with Kuvi, who won the EU Open, and Kuvi was like, don't play my lineup, play Broken Ball's lineup. I'm pretty sure Broken Ball's lineup
yeah,
is broken. Just play that and like get rid of Karma Set SI because that deck is bad. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll play his lineup, and I put in Karma Set P and Z because Aurora's been saying that it's been really good, and obviously Aurora won the APAC Open. So I kind
Mhm.
of just net decked a bunch of finalists, and brought it all together, and yeah, was able to take it down.
Yeah, that's very funny about the NIT people, like, because of course like they have one of advantage, right? They can see what's doing good, what's being played, what the field's gonna look like, because as honest, the fields usually tend to look very very similar. It's also based on that because yeah, people can just look what's happening. And of course that's also advantage. Also it can be disadvantage because then you have prepared your lineup, you have like, I don't know, Jackson in lineup, and then you see it's the most played deck in APEC, it's most played deck in EU. Should I still stay on it, right? That's like something that definitely comes into mind. It's gonna be kind of interesting to maybe see then the difference at Worlds, where NA people not gonna have this ability, right, to see what's doing good and stuff.
Yeah, I remember a comment. I think it was in Aikado's post-win thing where I would definitely agree that it's a significant advantage in knowing what the meta is probably going to look like. I don't think it's as much of a relevance in terms of like direct deck copying, but knowing what metas are going to look like definitely is a thing that
Agreed.
matters.
Yeah,
But
I think
also,
like stealing
everyone has
lists
it.
and like first timing them like isn't usually the strat. You know, obviously I'm saying that after doing exactly that and winning with it.
Yeah.
You know, you asked me how many games I had on Jack Sorn and TLC before this. You know, it's but yeah, so I do think that the big thing is just like knowing an expected meta, right? Like, you know, we
Yeah.
see not only is Jack Sorn really good, there's a lot of people on it. You know, it's not just like, you know, people might be on Jack Sorn, it's like people are on Jack Sorn and are probably going
Yeah.
to be on Jack Sorn because it's performing. So you can sort of, you know, come in and be like, okay, I'm gonna be targeting Jack Sorn because I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, I mean, APAC started off at 28 Jaxorn and then EMEA went to 32. Um, and EMEA even had the like wild situation where you might notice that there are 32 Jax Orns and there are 33 Orns and 33 Jaxes.
Yeah, there's one
Yeah.
timeline and one Gwen Ornn, I think.
Yeah, I
One of
mean
them's like a Gwen Udyr. And
Yeah.
then
Gwen.
yeah.
it just has Ornn for some reason, but yeah, I mean the like Ornless Jax deck, which Rico Rex really was big into. I don't think that one's that egregious. I do think like that deck should probably just be a variant of Jax Ornn that still plays Ornn. But that one is just like, okay, this is a fine deck. The
I think it's more like
Ornn,
standard deck now, isn't it? Or I think it's most standard deck, isn't it?
yeah, definitely more in standard, but Jax Ornn doesn't really give a shit about formats. They're just like, cool, I'll move to
Jack
Eternal.
Sorn's just broken everywhere. I
Well,
mean,
it doesn't. Yeah, it played the 34th same card. Then you realize that you have the best 5-drop in the game, like Mender. Man, that card is just so good. Like it's
Earthblood
so
Mender.
crazy.
You know,
Love
I once upon a time, right, said, you know, we don't really want Freljord to be a healing region. I was like, I don't know, they have a lot of healing already. It's kind of weird, but sure. And then after playing, you know, with and against Hearthblood Mender, I'm like, okay, yeah, Freljord should not be the healing region. This card is absolutely fucking absurd. This card is so broken and so good that it got us to cut Glacial Saurion from Jack Sword.
Yeah.
That's how broken this card is.
Because it's 5 mana 6/10, man. It's 5 mana 6/7 when it comes. It can heal 3, so basically it's 6/10. That also heals your Nexus for 3 for some reason. As well, if you think about it, it's even better because you're forging weapon, and that weapon that can get copied, and you know, so it's even better. So it can be actually, when you think about it, up to 8/12 for 5 mana. Like,
Yeah,
and
the
Yeah.
extra stats it's giving are recurring. It has such a massive body. I mean, so I'm not the biggest Jaxorn fan, but I net decked Broken Ball's list, which I think is the one you have up there, which, you know, is running a lot less combat tricks, but instead it's on the Avarice and Outriders, which is the Allegiance card. And this list just like absolutely fucking hosed people. Like, it just puts out big stats after big stats after big stats.
This fucking
And
card,
that card's
I
broken.
don't know why people aren't just playing 3 copies of this in every Jaxorn deck. Like, I don't know, like slapping a fucking equipment on this thing? Oh,
yeah.
I won
It's
so
more
many
like-
games because of this card. I won so many mirrors because of this card.
yeah.
This card is absurd. This card is absurd.
I don't know. It came up with like Bodier where I was like molding about how like the best way of dealing with like Bodier. It wasn't so much like specifically Bodier, it was the community kitchen cooking, where it was like this 2-drop that comes into play and like puts a unit into a like landmark, which is like gonna be really fucked up if it happens with like Bodier, because all of a sudden Shurima countdown is just like, oh, I'll put a Bodier into stasis on turn 2, accelerate the crap out of this card, get a Bodier on like turn 5, 6, whatever.
Copy Vitalia.
And it's like, there's this like very obvious counter argument of like, well, like explorers are really good against that play pattern. It's like, okay, great. Do you know what the best explorer is? It's this fucker who's in Freljord. So the answer is like, oh, I'm gonna play Freljord to beat that. What might I want to play with Freljord? Oh, Bodier. Maybe I'll put it into play with this 2-drop and try and cheat it out with accelerates. It's like this self-perpetuating cycle, which Jack Zorn also has, where it's like, oh, I want to play Jack Zorn because it's the best deck in the game. Well, I'd like to play some adventurers. Oh, I can just play those in Jack Zorn. I'm done here.
It is really funny that when I was talking with Kuvi about like, it's like I want to target Jack Zorn. And Kuvi's like, okay, Broken Balls TLC deck, great at that. I'm like, okay, I'll bring TLC. Karma set, great at that. Okay, I'll bring Karma set. You have to bring Jack Zorn. I'm like, I don't want to bring Jack Zorn. You have to bring Jack Zorn. Okay, I'll bring Jack Zorn. And then you look at Broken Balls list and it's like triple fucking Explorer. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's pretty good in the mirror. That's pretty okay.
Yeah,
No, the card's very good.
Also, the Outriders card is very good. I know that we were thinking about it a long time. We were using it, we were using it in the Alice Varden last Eternal patch as well. And it got me also very high. Yeah, the third up is very good and very underrated. And when you're able to it's just the power level of Ferret is so crazy good that it just allows you to just go basic and mono. And like, you have some misses, of course. You have 6 misses here, the Jax, Castaway, and Fish Fight, but
it looks a lot worse than it is because you see all this brown. You're like, oh, I've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 misses. Like, that's a shit ton of misses. But like 6 of them are Freljord. They don't count. It shows them as Jack's region. They're Freljord. So
yeah. One thing I do want to say on Explorers, I feel like we talk about Explorers every podcast. In every podcast, we say a different one's the best one. I feel like Explorers are really well implemented in the game, and that like a lot of them are really good. A lot of them are really playable. When I start playing against like the, I was playing Karma Set, right, and my Karma Set was running the Yordle Pioneer, and that card's broken as shit in Karma Set, and it's like all of the Explorers are good, other than. I mean, the PNZ build one is still just a 1/4 blocker, so like it's kind of shit. But I think all of them are really good.
It's honestly frustrating because like this card is seeing play because like there's a bunch of decks that literally control F elusive, and it's like the card has elusive. That's good enough text for me. And I don't know. I mean, it kind of makes sense because like Bilgewater has heavy metal and PNC has aftershock. So like they were the best regions at handling like landmarks and equipment prior to the existence of explorers. But it is kind of frustrating that it's like, okay, well, like if I'm not interested in playing aftershock or heavy metal, I just like don't have an explorer because this card is so ass. And like
this guy's biggest thing is just that it has a fat ass. He just has 4 health and like will block something. And like that's it. That's the beginning, middle, and end of it. The broken thing about Portal Pioneer, I was super down on this card when it first came out. I thought it was bad. But then you play Karma Set style decks, which is like if Seraphine does a similar thing, where it's like you just need something that just like chumps, because like chumping heals you like 4, and like it doesn't actually need a trade. None of your shit trades anyway in an Ionia deck.
Yeah,
this card's just good.
Yeah,
it's like tag outs are funny, but it is because it costs 1 mana, so you can then tag out, play it again, get there again. I definitely did underestimate this one and the third one. I just thought, I would start that I think the Noxus is still the best, but of course I think it showed this guy that we don't have very decks to use it in. And
yeah, I mean, I do think this card is like pretty solid, especially in standard. Like Shurima's like just dead. That region simply does not exist. Like that region exists, so you can put in Swinging Glaive on Akshan on turn 3 and just pray. Like that is that region. And Noxus like maybe got resurrected because of Dragon and like specifically Dragon plus Might, but prior to Dragon, like that region didn't exist while Explorers were in the game.
Also, do that you don't want to use it in because like I think if when you play Dragon, you're usually going like tempo, and this is not like tempo card, so.
I think that's the big thing, right? Is that like these are, a lot of these are going to see play based off like whether the regions have control decks that are interested in actually dealing with your opponent's landmarks and weapons.
Yeah.
I think the only one that isn't that like that is Demacia Freljord, because that one just has like a really good combat keyword.
I mean, if you remember, like pre-rotation, there's Laurent Protege, which would like occasionally see play, which is a 2/4 challenger. That is it. There's no extra gravy.
I used to play Protege all the time because it blocked really well into aggro, and like you just want extra challengers with like Shen.
It certainly occasionally saw play. It usually wasn't like just slam 3x or whatever. I think the only time you did that was like with Bard decks where you were just like desperate for any keyword because stats were free. And like this card, first of all, like it's only one stat down from Laurent Protege. It gives you an Explorer spell, which like probably compensates you for that stat, and also like is in Freljord, which didn't have access to Protege prior.
Yeah, and it's a weapon master, right? That's the thing. Yeah, like, it's mostly because of weapon master. I think if weapon master was something, this card is much weaker. But because weapon master are so strong, and
The amount of times the opponent would kill my Jax and I just slap Jax weapon on this thing, it's like, oh, I just have a quick attack. You know?
yeah, and that's my kind of issue. Like with the Jack's own deck, like if we want to talk about it, like the second like they have the Forges and you don't have answer to weapons. Like sure, you could a Jack that is big because he's Forge, but then he's got the weapons and it's 1 mana +2/+2 quick attack, and you're like, oh, I guess I just lose, right? And like how well it just snowballs, and like how well it just takes over the game is just something that I just mind on with this deck, and
Yeah,
I'm just this deck should just go. I don't know what's the nerf exactly. I think Commander as a cat should get hit in Eternal, but that's Eternal. In Standard, it's probably the Wonder, but in the Apprentice, it's just crazy good. And like Apprentice into GX is just so broken. Like,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that like probably needs to happen around and surrounding Jax Ornn, but like I don't know. I've just remembered games where like I had a game recently against like Shen Demacia where I had an Ornn and it had a Jax weapon on it for a bit, and it was attacking a couple of times. My opponent managed to live through it. They managed to kill my Ornn. I hadn't leveled Jax, the Lantern didn't have a weapon, but I did have like an 11-10 Lantern, and I was just like, put this on an Omen Hawk. Give me a unit every turn. You're never fucking
Yeah.
killing this Omen Hawk. If you do,
yeah.
I'm slapping it on something else. And it's just like, great. Like,
I think another thing, like, okay, so we've talked about like standard as a whole, like
Yeah.
being in like this shroud of like just mid range shit, and like even if we answer Jaxorn, I don't necessarily know if that like fixes standard. I think
yes.
that what would be nice is if we had like Ionia or SI or Noxus control decks that existed in the game in standard, so we can deal with these decks. Because like as we saw, like I played an SI and an Ionia control deck, and I was farming Jaxorn all day, an Eternal, right? And like it would be
Yeah.
nice if we had those types of options available
Mhm.
in standard.
Yeah. When I was looking through it, like, for this kind of like historical perspective on standard, like, one of the things that like really stood out to me is there's like regions that are just non-functional, which like we definitely have talked about previously, but it's stuff like Shadow Isles. I mean, like, there is Heimer Nora now. There's this like Freljord ramp deck. Deep. I mean, there's some Gwen decks. I mean, that's like literally it in the top 50 for SI decks. Like, SI just doesn't really feel functional. Noxus, since the nerf of like Samira, doesn't really feel functional. Like, sure, Ash LeBlanc has seen some play occasionally. Maybe Dragon puts it back together, but like, regions are both like non-functional or very, very fragile. Where like Noxus is a great example of that. Like, Noxus was propped up by Samira. Noxus was doing fine, fine, fine. You nerf Samira, region fucking dies. Like, never coming back.
But we got
Yeah.
Dragon now. Like I think Noxus is currently carried by Dragon probably by the 6 mana.
Dragon is kind of the new Samira. It's just much more linear and much less interesting in the way that's being put in. Because like I think that the dragon we talked about previously, how we felt like it was a pretty good card that just like was going to be gated by whether or not we could find a home for it. But it turns out slapping might on this card is a deck in and of itself, and we're building decks around them.
Yeah, I do think the like goal with Dragon is to find decks that are interested in playing Dragon and interested in playing Might. Because some of this stuff, like where you're like clearly trying to cheese people with Dragon, I don't think that's going to be good because that's just like too easy to deal with. But when you're playing like, I don't know, Leona Noxus, and you're like, I'm interested in playing Might, I'm interested in playing Dragon. Sometimes I draw Might and I draw Dragon, and I can try and cheese you, but I'm not like obligated to do that. I just
Yeah, it's
can.
it's Lona, it's Tristana probably. It's we saw
Um,
somewhere at Gwen now as well. I think
yeah,
something like that might be thingy. And yeah, as well, yeah, I was saying that especially when we at the reveal. But yeah, I just don't know if there's gonna be Noxus deck, and it seems that yeah, the decks are wrapping around the dragon because the dragon card is just it's so very good. It's just 6 mana card that deals 2 mana effect basically, and that being big challenger. And as said with the might, it also becomes a threat. And that's actually something I wasn't even considering with might, but because I think even without Midas card, it's pretty good. but I just wasn't sure about the home, and we just found it probably.
Yeah, it's definitely solid. One of the things that did surprise me about this card is I felt like you would have to be cheesing people with this card for it to be good. But it turns out like as long as you have the option to cheese people, like I don't think stuff like Swain is gonna be good because of this card. If you can't put might on this card, I think it's kind of a joke of a card. But as soon as you are able to might it, I think it's good.
I think that like Nora Swain that was playing it in Eternal like seemed pretty reasonable because this card like in against mid range decks is like something that tribeams on play and then also trades into their biggest guy, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a pretty good value unit. And it's just I think when I saw the card I was like, oh, it's gonna be this big value unit. The issue is it's a big value unit that also just fucking OTKs you sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, I've been playing with Gwen, I've been playing it with all sorts of things. This card has single-handedly brought Kato out of retirement. This is a
Yeah.
this is a real ass card.
Yeah, we know the grass here those with standard in Swen with Swen because Swen is kind of unplayable in standard, but yeah, in the turn it was a decent deck, the Nurse Swen.
Yeah, I was trying like Alawi just like without Swain, and instead we're just playing Firespitter, and that seems like it, potentially. There's a lot of might decks we're building right now, and eventually we'll probably end up, boiling it down to the one or two that are actually good. But yeah, right now we're spitting it up.
But also it's like counterable strategy as well, right? Let's be honest, like if opponent plays Banshirds or Hashwins, like the strategy gets much weaker.
Yeah, I mean, I just really feel like that goes back to the thing of like, if you are forced to cheese people for wins, like your deck sucks. But as soon as you're like playing a fine deck and you can also cheese people, I'm like very interested in this.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
I
I'm
think
like interested in. I think I'm as probably like Tristana seems something that I'm interested in, because I think Tristana as a card is very good. I think her
Yeah.
package is pretty bad though, and that's my maybe issue.
I think Mayor and
But
Grandpa and like Bando Commander are kind of like broken cards. But beyond that, like if you aren't hitting like Mayor and Grandpa every game, like your deck definitely has a significant. It feels a lot worse.
Yeah.
yeah, Tristana being 3-mana Wincon, that's something that I just like. I think just very powerful.
Yeah, Tristana is definitely solid, and I would definitely be interested in exploring like I mean, we saw like way like second Glory and Navori standard. There was tons and tons of Tristana decks, and there was like the Tristana Noxus with like Teemo, or sometimes you'd burn your Samira on it. But that one was like well and truly aggro. I would be pretty interested in seeing like a Tristana Noxus that isn't just like aggro for the sake of playing aggro.
Yeah, I
Because
played something like this today, and it felt pretty good, but not sure on it yet. But yeah, it was definitely like back in the time. I would say that Tristana Noxus was probably the weakest one. I think it was like the first that came in, but then we figured out like Bridgewater, Demacia, and even Ionia. What I remember was like better. But
I don't think Ione was better.
It was certainly one of the decks of all time.
Yeah.
it had bigger success in the open than Noxus one.
I think the big
Well,
thing is that the Noxus one was
Rubber
like,
made the pro, I think, with it. So
yeah, I don't know. The Ione one I was always a little bit sus on, but I do think that Tristana like has potential in standard. And
yeah,
even last standard, Roji was playing the Bilgewater one, right?
mm,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, Bilgewater. I don't know. Bilgewater is really weird because like Boat got buffed to draw Jack, and I'm not entirely sure you even play one Jack, which is a
Yeah, I don't
little
think he was
sad.
playing Jack.
Yeah,
I
you know.
don't think he was playing Jack. He's just playing Boat, and because Prize Fight's a
Yeah.
good card.
That deck did make very good use of Prize Fight, but yeah, the Noxus one also gets you the Noxus Explorer, which is multi-region, which is relevant, but
Yeah.
Maybe it's like Nora Tristana or something. It's the reinvention of Broadmain. Just gotta believe.
Maybe.
I mean, you could always
Yeah.
just. I mean, you can always just like play Nar, like the Bilgewater one, because you're allowed to play Nar, and Nar is a pretty solid card. But
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's good.
Agreed. Nar, very good. Who knew?
Yeah, it's like one of the like more balanced. Yeah, I mean, that's a very good design, for example. I also think Tristana is very good design. I think that's like very good design champions that I'm happy to see. But I'm curious what's gonna happen in standard in the future, and I'm kind of curious about the LCQ meta, because we're doing this podcast maybe too early, but we couldn't do otherwise. So it's very early to say something what's good. So
yeah, I mean, we did have like tournaments, and there weren't like that many changes because they're all targeting Eternal. But
Yeah, I think Eternal, it's kind of, it feels a little bit like a dud because we just came off this Eternal meta where like we could talk about the Eternal meta, right? We could be like, Aphelios Victor was super cool, but like everyone got off of it day 2 because it was just like getting targeted. We could talk about like the Voltron Draven vibe being really strong. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but the issue is that like, I don't know how relevant it is because we're going straight into the
Yeah.
last chance qualifier, right?
yeah, Last Chance Qualifier has a bunch of interesting stuff because we got some like cool like storylines where like Donut is probably the most exciting one. I don't know if there's like another one in a different region.
I mean, is it exciting that we don't know if East is gonna get like the points? Like, I
I
don't
mean,
know if
it's
like
interesting. It really fucking
Let's-
sucks for Donut.
Let's give people a little bit of context. So first off, looking at this list, right side there, God, that's a sexy fucking list. Wow, who made it in at first? God damn. There might be a Worlds qualified player. If you guys don't know, top 6 here, from each region qualify for Worlds. Here's the thing, coming out of the Open this weekend, we were looking at it and we're like, oh, we think that Donut is going to make it in because Maytree here, number 3 on the list, is going to make it in on seasonals points, which means that he's going to get taken off of this yearly point total, which means that number 7, Donut, might be making it in. The issue is that there's a little bit of back and forth on Twitter where it's easy to win, right? Who potentially didn't get ladder points earlier in the year, and they're talking with rioters right now to see if they have the right point total. So there's drama right now where we don't know who on earth is actually making it into Worlds.
Yeah, because Eternal API is broken and we usually don't have the data, and it's so yeah.
I will say, I mean, I'm not going to track down the tweet right now. Easy to Win specified it was actually standard that he thinks his points are incorrect with, which is like wild, especially because like Aegis was supposedly given the canonical list from Riot, where like Riot just gave them a list and said, this is what points we have, which like, God, I'd hope Riot has the right number of points from people. I mean,
well, they had, for example, my points wrong, right? Let's be honest. Like, I don't know if like Riot points mean something because for first season, especially, I made 18 points first season and I had 10 right after that. So like,
they should be able to, like, realistically, the cutoff and snapshot should happen at some point, and like they should have that list.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as far as chat's asking about Last Chance Qualifier happens this weekend. Anyone can join, unless you're already qualified for Worlds. And if you get first or second, you make it to Worlds.
Yeah,
that's it. It's just cut and dry. So everybody who's not already qualified or on the top 6 on these lists, their only chance to make it to Worlds is the Last Chance Qualifier.
Yeah,
exactly.
I also want to like briefly talk about like something kind of weird with the Last Chance Qualifier. So I am not allowed to play. I can't even play if I want to. Like, it's like a violation of terms of service for me to play in the Last Chance
because you're officially qualified. You've won a you've won a championship qualifier. You're on the list of officially qualified players.
I am on this list. I am like definitely qualified. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Aikado is mathematically qualified. There is no way for Aikado to not be qualified. Aikado is allowed to play the Last Chance Qualifier and try and take a different slot than he currently is. So, like,
save Donut.
Yeah, Aikado could play and open up a slot on this list so Donut does become locked, which is just kind of weird. Like, it's not really a problem, but it is bizarre.
We have the same discussion in our prep group where there's Sorry and there's BB, right? So Sorry might like save BB, for example, as well.
Yeah,
in the EU.
It's
weird.
It is weird because like there's no incentive for me to play other than fucking over somebody and saving Donut, right?
Yeah.
Like that's really what it would come down to, is if I, went through and like beat somebody, like whoever I played in like the semifinals, I would be taking away their world spot and giving it to Donut, which like, there's certainly moral implications there. I'm not sure where I stand on that, if it's allowed or not, or if it's cool. But it is wild because genuinely I could go down to 0 LP on ladder right now. The only reason this list isn't like completely locked in is because ladder cutoff hasn't happened yet. But yeah, like I'm in Worlds. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
I think it's not like that much about it because you're not that much connected to Donut, for example. But as said, like Soy can say, for example, BB, right? If Soy wins the Last Chance Qualifier, he can help his teammate to get the grudge match against Sonic, right? And that's something that like then it's kind of weird, right? So
Yeah, my only kind of criticism is like clearly we don't want qualified people playing the last chance qualifier, which is fine. I think that's a reasonable take. But like cutoff doesn't occur until after last chance qualifier. So like for example, prior like setting aside this easy to win situation, Donut is thinking about playing the last chance qualifier. Donut could be playing the last chance qualifier and be qualified, but he doesn't know for sure when the last chance qualifier happens. So, like, very reasonable for Donut to decide to play. And he's accidentally causing that situation. And it's just like, just do the cutoff
Yeah.
before last chance qualifier. So people
Yeah,
are like,
exactly.
okay, I am or I am not qualified. And if you want qualified people to not be allowed to play, ban them all. Like, don't
It
let
does
any of
feel
them
like that
play.
should be the case. Because like, for me and like Majin, I think that we're both mathematically locked.
Yeah.
And there's just like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? We just are mathematically locked. It's just not until ladder cutoff technically.
Like, the
But
others
for
are not
everybody
that, right?
below us,
They're
Ty
not
Guy,
that.
Nas, Chinos, Donut, like even if they are qualified, they're not like 100% locked in. Like it's probably worth them playing.
Yeah.
Because they need to play ladder, right? And that's the thingy. For example, like let's be honest, like we saw, for example, Simon, losing like 700 LP in one day. Like it's possible to just lose it, and like it's maybe still probably good for them to even play it, right? On that and stuff. Also funny thingy, on APEC, we actually gonna be having grudge match. If of course people get ladder points, we have 3-way tie for 6th place. So on 29th of November, Aegis Esports, if actually everyone gets the same amount of ladder points there, we're gonna be having grudge match between these 3 players. So that's gonna be very hype on 29th.
Yeah,
It's
it
kind of
is.
weird that it's a Wednesday, but yeah, I guess it is what it is.
I mean, admittedly, there's like a few bizarre things. We like look at the calendar. Like Worlds is like starts on a Thursday.
That was always the thing.
I mean, it's a little weird to me that Sunday goes completely unused. Not so much starting on Thursday, but
I do agree. It was
maybe that's an
even back
APAC
in the
like
time.
time.
I think it's an APAC
reasons?
thing because
Okay.
like Sunday for APAC is like Monday, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if it's if there's a justification for it, I'm happy to just be like, okay, that's fine. It's just like
I do definitely agree though that it's kind of weird because but we had it before that, and I even remember that some groups were played because of some people couldn't, for example, play it on Thursday and Friday. But now we have the new format where there's no groups anymore and everyone plays at the same time because we're gonna be having the Swiss and stuff. Also, something to also add on, very interesting on these yearly points, if you can leave it there. For example, Sonic. We were talking about how much ladder matters, right? First season, there was ability to get 5 points. Both Donut and Sonic didn't get 5 points. They got only 4 points that season, and it might both of them close the Worlds. So
That's so
kind of
crazy.
crazy.
I think I also got 4 points in the first season. Wasn't it like you had to be top 10 to get 5 or
Top 10,
something?
yeah. You need to be
Yeah.
top 10.
Yeah, I was grinding.
Yeah, and you didn't even
I was
need it.
also.
Yeah.
This guy's out here taking away points from hardworking donuts, man.
Yeah,
I remember
It's-
like when I won the world qualifier, I had 2,000 LP, and the next closest person was like
Yeah,
Quacko at 1,500. And I was just like, I could int 2,000 LP. And I remember like sitting there being like, okay, can I get someone? Unfortunately, I remember so much stuff from this because I was also like, okay, I could just int off 2,000 LP and get like the sickest LP loss in one day tweet of all time.
But that was the thing.
completely
That was when we were
MMR
getting
was
the,
broken and
Talk
people
about
MMR was
epic 100
broken, yeah.
games.
And
Yeah.
I remember that like it was Nick and it was Mo that had like 50% win rate. They were like top of the ladder because they played so many games. And I remember
Yeah.
Aikado was so molding about it. Yeah. Oh my god.
It is funny though, thinking back to like when we, a very start of like the Worlds announcement where we talked about like the format of Worlds. We talked about how like Worlds, like ladder was like it was important, but like 1 or 2 points probably won't matter that much. There might be a little bit. No, 1 or 2 points matters a lot.
Yeah.
It was you should have been out there grinding every single day.
Well,
The fact
it
that
matters
you
like
did
for a few people, right? Online, like it only mattered for a few people. Like,
for sure,
let's be
which
honest
is
on
still
that
the
thingy.
case. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Worlds is
something
just.
definitely mention. But
How do we
that's
feel
something
about like
Mhm.
Worlds qualification as a whole now? Like now that we're coming on the end, almost everybody's locked in. We've locked in like 80% of our players, 90% of our players. How do we feel about it?
I said that like last time. I think that one tournament matters more for like like even though it's the same tournament, is something that I mind the most. But I overall think that the format is much better though. Overall, like it's much better. Like let's be honest. Like of course I qualified twice from the last format, but let's be honest, the fucking last format was so bad because it was
Yeah.
one tournament. Qualifying to that tournament was pretty easy, and that then was 2 days. You need to do well in them. If you did, you qualify the worlds. I said I'd qualified twice thanks to that, but it was of course because I got lucky and stuff. So I do
Yeah.
think this format is much better.
Are we talking about like the tournament format or who's qualified? Because it sounded like you were talking
As
about
far as
who's
like
qualified.
qualification for worlds, I guess.
I mean, I think it's like pretty good. It's bizarre because like I had a very different experience engaging with it than I think like other than like floppy. I mean, the other people who qualified with me and the people who qualified like prior. I had like an incredibly abnormal experience because we'd played 2 tournaments on the new patch and I was qualified, which was an
Yeah.
experience shared by literally these 7 people.
Mhm.
So
Well, I didn't play basic nothing this year, right? That's also thinking.
yeah, I mean, unironically, like I don't really fault him because I kind of did that. I skipped 4
Yeah.
opens this year. There's 10 tournaments and I skipped 4 of them. Like
It is funny that a few months ago I tweeted out that I was at like second or third on the points list, and I'm like, this isn't good enough. I think I was at 32 points.
yeah.
I was like, this isn't good enough. I have to keep playing and like keep winning, even though I've topped like 6 of the last 7 tournaments or something. And now here at the end, I literally had to top this last tournament in order to make it. So it is interesting. I've topped 7 of the 10 tournaments. And yeah, it was still, I was grinding till the last fucking day.
Wait, I kind of in the end it didn't matter because you didn't need to win because you had 32 points before this, and you didn't need to actually top because you would
Oh,
still
when I
qualify.
complained, I had 23 points. Holy fuck! And Ty Guy was like, "Bro, you're chill. What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
Fucking Ty Guy.
I do think I do feel like consistent. Well, okay, it's kind of bizarre because like on the one hand, I feel like consistency isn't rewarded as well because like it felt like this should have just qualified you. But on the other hand, like it's not like Cup had a significantly worse resume than you did. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, looking at these people, like, do I think Cup should have qualified over them? No, like they had a better resume than Cup. It's just there's 6 slots, and if we're giving it to the
Yeah.
best 6, like that
The
isn't
consistency
Cup
do
here.
matter.
The big thing is it's really hard to qualify for worlds. I think
Yeah.
this is what I was saying at the very beginning is there aren't a lot of slots. It's going to be really fucking hard. And thank God, by the way, that they split up the regions as far as like points go, because like
Oh, yeah.
at 44, I ended up I would have made it either way, even if it was like all the
Yeah.
regions were combined. It was just top 18. But like God, America's would have kind of gotten fucked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the
I mean-
points, like 32 points being 6th place, and like 39 and 35, and yeah, it's funny.
We would have gotten
What
like
did you
2
do?
people in.
So this is 11. This is 20. Yeah, we would have gotten Matri wouldn't have qualified. So
It's literally just me and Majin that would have made it in.
Yeah, that's so funny. But also,
I
Which
think-
means I would have had to like win this last tournament. Thank God
Yeah.
I did, but
I think Majin like might not be mathematically locked in that world. Like you
Yeah.
are, but like Majin is like, I mean, we got 6 people, so like just a full complement, and then we've got like significantly more people in string. Majin probably was locked, but like
yeah.
Matri's fucked. He's just out. Like you're not making it,
It
son.
was a good, definitely good change. Yeah. Something I wanted to add something. I don't remember what. Yeah, they made the consistency better by adding the 1 point. I think that like when at the start when for top cutting was only 2 points, the classic open. Then adding the another point just made a huge difference. I think for top 64, top 32, and top 16 in the classic opens. Like that 1 point like made it that consistency is more valuable, but it's still it kind of still need to like spike at least a little at one of them.
I think one of the reasons why my runs were so close is I topped so many fucking tournaments, but the World Championship qualifier, I don't know if I made it out of the first round of top 64. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does strike me as a little bizarre, particularly for seasonal leaderboards, how important doing well in the World Championship qualifier is. Because it feels like, okay, obviously the person who wins qualifies. The person who gets second, if they like top cut a tournament, they probably qualify in seasonal points. And it's like, why is second place like essentially also a qualification? That's a little bizarre.
And then third and fourth place is like winning open, right? Like that's what my thinking. Was my issue. Why one open matters so much more than the others ones, and that's my current only issue with the format. As I said, I get it because of the it's the open that more people play because they be like, okay, I guess I can win it, right? And I can qualify. I don't have to care, I don't have to
Yeah,
prepare for anything. I didn't play this game for 3 months. I guess I can just hop in, do fast prep, and maybe win and qualify, right? So get it. Why is it? Also, they're doing official broadcasts by it, by ages, right? We saw them though the classic opens only getting the clean feed for the watch parties. So
yeah,
I get it by that way, but for competitor, it's of course like maybe a little bit more frustrating because that open kind of matters for me for no reason, right?
yeah.
That way.
Competitively, I think it makes no sense. From a marketing perspective, I think it's like, I think that's the reason. Basically, they can say like, okay, we've got huge prize pool. If you win, you're just qualified, and we can justify doing a broadcast on one of 3 opens when we can't justify doing it on 3. That's why
Yeah,
it's like special.
I do think that like having, a tournament where it's just like if you win it, you're in. That's it. Like I think having something that simple is like really valuable. But the way you put it, like makes a lot of sense where it's like, okay, so if you win, you're in. Great. Why do second, third, and fourth also like basically just win the seasonals points?
Yeah.
Like they just get such a leg up over everybody else that unless somebody's winning one of the other opens, they're just not going to make it on seasonals points.
You maybe keep the points same, but just make it a winner actually qualifiers. Maybe that's the change. I would be maybe down. I think that
Doing
makes complete sense.
Yeah, doing point like changing the points down, I think is like a reasonable thing because like a lot of the focus is like, why does this count more? Why is it more money or whatever? And it's like, okay, that one's just
Yeah,
marketing. Like the answer
I think
there
it's
is
fine. Yeah.
marketing. But yeah, changing points could definitely correct a lot of this like bizarreness with seasonal points, which is like really where I think the issue hits the head because it's like, I mean, I don't want to go dig up the ages sheet for it, but like basically all of the seasonal point leaders are just, you performed well in the World Championship Open, but you didn't get first because that obviously just qualifies you. So
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, I don't know if it still stands, but probably it still stands, is that every time the second place of World Qualifying Open always qualified for the points, or he was qualified. For example, Ultraman in EU, for example, So yeah, the second
Yeah.
place actually is basically qualifying you.
Yeah. I think it's a super fair criticism. But otherwise, I feel like the system, it feels a lot more like you're qualifying for Worlds, which was, a complaint about the old system is like you were qualifying for a qualifier for Worlds. Like, let's be
yeah,
honest. And like everybody, if you were like really focused on it, basically everybody could qualify for Worlds. I say this as somebody who missed out by 1 point to Donut. So honestly, fuck Donut. If he's missing out on 1 point, it's just his just
Oh,
desserts.
you're not gonna get him back? Oh my god.
yeah,
Okay.
I definitely like. I don't know. My experience with Worlds, Baya has like an experience shared only with What Am I? So he has weird takes, but my experience with Worlds was like very bizarre because I did perform pretty well at Worlds. I never top cut Worlds. For anybody unaware, Aikado beat me for the qualification in the first one, and I like went 3-2 in the second one, which doesn't qualify you.
Mhm.
But like I definitely had a positive record in Worlds. I did pretty decently in Worlds. But like when people ask me like, do you have any accomplishments in Runeterra? At that point, I was like, did I play in Worlds? Did I play in a qualifier? How do I even talk about this? Like, I have no clue.
Yeah.
It feels like it was marketed as Worlds, but like it wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Even
Worlds, right?
broadcast, right? It was like so weird back in the time, and like I do definitely, I'm definitely new. I think the old system sucked, and even as said, I'm not qualified now with this. It seems unless I win the last chance qualifier, I think this format is much better. And yeah, I of course twice picked at the qualifiers. I think that was basically my best 2 tournaments that I've ever played, because in the first one I went 7-1, in the second one I went 8-1 against people the best from the best, right, from the region, right? So the results were just crazy, and of course I got lucky in these things, and I do think that it would be very unlikely to do it again this time as well. So
Yeah.
I do think it's a very better format this way, and I'm happy it's thingy. And if I
Yeah.
don't qualify, yeah, sure, but I think it's also because I had quite a bad year this year. I think I especially had like bad summer, and now the like the current, oh, it's autumn, right?
Yeah. I mean,
do
I had
think-
had a good spring, but
I was just gonna say, I just want to highlight again, it's really fucking hard to qualify for this Worlds. It's really hard to qualify for this Worlds. Like, if you look at the list of these players, 4LW is 12th. Homie won a fucking tournament this year. Homie won a tournament and got second, right? And he's 12th? Like,
he didn't know. Did he win?
I don't
didn't he?
think 4LW
When did
won.
4LW win his did he win it last year?
He won
He
a
was season- he won-
seasonals.
he won
yeah.
seasonal.
Oh, he won a seasonals. Okay, well, I'm just fucking lying
Yeah.
then. But no, I like 4LW is like an incredibly good player. Imtalk's an incredibly good player. Cup's an incredibly good player. There's so many incredibly good players that are getting snubbed. Didn't Chekhov get like second at a tournament or something? And he's
Chekhov
down
had
here
a
in
lot of
20
good tournaments. Chekhov also skipped like 6 opens, I think. Like,
Yeah. But no, I just think that it's really hard to qualify. There's a lot of competition here. There's a lot of really high level players, and like, yeah, a lot of it just sometimes comes down to like, did you do well in enough World Championship qualifiers?
yeah, I mean, it's easier to talk about Americas because I have like more direct experience with the players, and it's like the people qualifying from Americas, I think are just like truly some of the best players. And it's like, yeah, I can like look through the people who miss and be like, oh man, I feel like that person should have gone to Worlds. But like, we qualified all good players, and it's like, all right, great, fantastic. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
that's
do
what the
think that's
World
a-
qualification should have. And
I do think the same for EMEA as well, right? I think the good players qualified. Of course, it's kind of pity to miss some people as well. Like I think, for example, Neverwalk had amazing gear, especially in like things like Ages and stuff. Me, BB as well. But I guess I didn't have myself that good year, so I would be honest. I think I'm fine. But Sonic had amazing gear, for example. But it's kind of pity on them. But at the same time, I think Barcode was so good. Soy was so good. Kurashi was amazing as well. Talpenet to Soko is Shulfe also. Like, these players that qualified, they had amazing gear as well. So, in the end, there's like so many spots, and only some people qualify.
yeah, I do think current Worlds, um, if I was going to criticize anything about the qualification situation with Worlds, I feel like this one leaves people out who had really rather CB at Worlds. But I think that's significantly better than the previous system, which basically was just like, oh, you played competitively some. Congratulations, you're going to the Worlds qualifier.
Again, I say it's the only person who missed one. Fuck me.
yeah.
It is funny though. In my run, in my Swiss Open, this weekend, I had to top to like make sure I was making Worlds. My 8th win was against Maitri, who was third on this list. My 9th win was against fucking Chinos. I played against fucking. I was actually just playing World Qualifier games like all weekend.
Yeah. It was a good tournament in the end, and I said that I think it does, especially the point changes. I think for the Worlds qualifying open, that they don't gonna give that many points as they do currently. I think the format is amazing, and I'm down to run it back next year as well.
Yeah, overall, pretty happy with the format. And the changes to the actual format of the Tournament of Worlds, I feel like is just a dramatic improvement.
Swiss is so good. I love Swiss so much, and like it's gonna be so 3 days of so hype. And if I don't qualify, at least I'm gonna be having amazing watch parties, because in the end, man, I think playing this game is very fun, but also I think watching this game is also very fun. And like
Yeah.
watching the things, thinking about it, and watching tournaments is just hype. And that's actually something I want to ask you. What do you think about like the watch parties thing is, right? Because I think we like they kind of hope that the committee will like agree on it, and I think we agreed kind of well on it. I'm doing EU, Aikado doing Americas, Friend is doing APEC, and of course some other people as well, like Boulevard and stuff. So, what are your takes about the watch parties and stuff?
I think it's a very good solution to this problem of like, we can't put the resources into making a broadcast for every open, but we can just provide a clean feed. And it's like, that's, I assume, I guess I don't know for sure, but I assume that's very cheap for Riot to provide, of just a clean feed. We just show the
Like
games.
I think it's like 2 people. I might be lying. I guess this is a better question than that, but I think it's like
Yeah,
not that many people, right?
I don't think it's a big cost to Riot, and I think Riot should really look hard at these things of like, okay, it would be very hard, I assume, to convince higher ups at Riot to put large investments into Legends of Runeterra. But these things that don't cost the company a whole lot, but are very valuable to the community, I think is things that like you should just absolutely do. And stuff like clean feeds, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you have to pay a guy. I don't know what salary they get, but you have to pay someone some amount of money to kind of manage the clean feed or whatever.
So I don't know. I'm pretty sure they just outsourced it to Aegis. I'm pretty sure Aegis
Okay,
just runs it.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
doing
pretty
good.
sure they have like 2 people or 3 people like on call a weekend, and they just like run the clean feeds. They
Okay.
have like all the graphics and shit, and that's why we get the graphics and shit. I will say that the clean feed. I know that last year when they said that they weren't going to do as many, they weren't going to do like the official broadcasts. I'm very glad that they have done official broadcasts for the World Championship qualifiers, and B are giving us the option to still be able to spectate it through the clean feed. I do think like it's a little bit awkward for people who aren't super plugged in to like not have like an official thing that they can click on. Like how many times do you have people come into your chat and it's like, where's the official feed? And it's like, you're here, buddy. This is where we're at.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, of course it'd be better if there was like an official broadcast, but that costs money, and the clean feed is like way
we are doing
cheaper.
it for free, right? We're doing with Aikado for free, for also does it for free, right? Like we are just
Yeah.
willing to
We should
because
be
we are
getting
so
paid for
passionate.
this shit. What the fuck, Riot?
Exactly, man. Exactly.
No, I
When
do
it,
think it's pretty good for influencers too, because like I don't know if your viewership goes up. I imagine so by it. Like
No,
my
yeah.
viewership goes up. Like even if I'm just watch partying, like it's still over the weekend of a tournament. Like there's a lot higher viewership. There's a lot more people watching. There's a lot more people engaged. I do think that like giving the tools to the creators to be able to have these types of watch parties. I think that's overall a good thing.
Yeah. Also, I'm trying to like with Marsha, we're trying to like make it the broadcast better and stuff. I think we were pretty good. I'm pretty proud of us of what we did in last open. I think the storytelling was pretty good the last time, so I'm proud of ourselves.
Yeah, people are mentioning it's like definitely relevant of like the Oceania League client has an
You have it
LOR
in the
button.
topics. You have in topics. You can have the tweet from
Yes.
Dan.
Yeah, no, it's
Well, there's a specific writer also mentioned on Reddit. So
yeah, Meddler, who's if you've at all engaged with League of Legends, you probably know who Meddler is.
yeah, I'm not gonna deal with this one because the formatting is awful. But
Yeah.
what's it called?
But
It is a test run in Oceania, but like this is the type of thing that I'd really like to see because I don't think it costs Riot much to have a button in client to be like, hey, go check out our other game. And like stuff like that. It's like you could really help out the LR community, and I don't think it costs you much. Right? I guess I don't know for sure, but I can't imagine having a button that people can click is that costly.
It's definitely constant, especially like what. Okay, I don't even care that much about the button. What I have also the button in the topics as well. What I care about is that it seems that that Riot cares, and that's something that I think.
Yeah.
What? I said new tweet. You click on the one.
it's more pieces. Twitter, if you need to look it up.
All right.
But yeah, no,
Oh,
I think you're right. I think that just showing that like Riot's invested and that Riot, wants to see LOR grow, I think is very cool. That's something that I'm excited about. That's something that I'm excited to see. Even like new features like this, it's like, hey, you like League of Legends or you hate playing League of Legends, but you like TFT or you hate playing TFT. Check out our other game. I think
it's
that
just
type
like
of
just
thing
give
is
publicity,
very
right?
cool.
And like I think like I met a lot of people and like they're like they even don't know that this card game exists. They know about like Hearthstone, of course, because Hearthstone is so mainstream. But they don't know that this exists, and like this can just give the visibility. If they're gonna be okay, let's try it, and it can
Yeah, I
bring
mean,
no
We could
people.
point to that Reddit post. You remember like last year the Reddit post of the guy who's like, "Oh, I played League so much, I'm gonna make a bunch of custom Hearthstone cards for League of Legends." It's like, you know that they have a card game, right? He's like, "Wait, really?"
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Like that's the thing.
I'm still plugged into Magic, there was a post like that for Magic too, where someone was like, "Hey, I really like League of Legends. Here's my like Magic the Gathering custom set." People are like, "You know LLR exists? Like they have cards."
Like I said, and
But,
like this button only gives me so much hope because I said I think this is, and maybe isn't this like if it's Oceania, like what does it go also then eventually on China servers and then maybe China LR server?
I mean
I think that OS is
that's
just.
a
I think
they
It's
OS
maybe
is
too
just
much
kind of like their
Chromium,
test
but
server
yeah.
right
They
now.
test a bunch of
right?
stuff
Like,
on OS, but
yeah, OS and like the LAN and LAS servers. Like those oftentimes are like the testing ground for new league stuff.
all right, excuse my boomer moment, but something that I'd really like LOR to do is Magic the Gathering
Have
on like
Fallout. I'm sorry, go ahead.
for sure. Magic the Gathering on like their main site, you can actually find like competitive lists that people play. And it's just like if you do well on like the equivalent of ladder, it just goes to the main site. It's entirely automatic, whatever. And people cared where it was like their list got published on the main site and it was like super cool or whatever.
Mhm.
Deck
Something to mention to
lists.
this is that Legends of Runeterra now it seems that has some partnership with Master and Runeterra, by the way, and they're gonna be releasing articles about Worlds, by the way, with
Yeah.
the part of World Champion and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's also very exciting. And yeah, it's definitely something to care. I saw Magic has also some when was Arcane, I think Magic carries like 2 cards or something like that. What
Yeah,
I
there's
know.
a few arcane cards, but like this is what I'm talking about. So like traditional standard ranked deck lists, these decks won 6 or more matches in a row during ranked play by players at platinum or mythic ranking. And it's just like some dude's list. And some of them have like actual player names. And you could be like, look, Ma, it's me. And like
Are there a
people
lot
care.
of these? 6 in a row doesn't sound like that much.
They there is some algorithm, and I think on this one they don't tell you what it is, but they won't publish the same kind of list twice. So you wouldn't
Oh,
see
that
like
makes
2
sense.
Janna TF lists or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a decent
It's
number.
kinda
There's
cool.
usually like 20 to 30 in each one of these dumps, but like the important part is like these aren't written by a person. They're not like some kind of like article that takes a bunch of effort to write. They're just deck list dumps. But people pay attention, people post them on community sites, people are like, look, my deck list got posted because I did well or whatever. And it's like,
Okay. Is this abusable? One time, Mo sent me a deck list that when I opened it up in client, it just said D's nuts down the left side. Could we get a list on here that just lists out these?
I mean, I guess you probably could in theory. I don't know how you would,
That's
but
the question.
If you
That's the
snipe each
question.
other, if you like snipe each other, snipe each other, and then like make the
We
based
just,
on that.
you just gotta win 6 in a row with the worst list on the planet.
although I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
like in theory, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been seeing, but there's been a lot of molding on Reddit about people being upset that there's like an import deck list from opponent button, and people are like, they'll take my trade secrets, protect the deck lists.
Yeah, let's
So
pretend that like GG or low R or Master and Runeterra don't exist, right? Surely.
Well, but the thing is, if they never hit Masters and they never make an account, then Runeterra AR will never find them. It's
Well, Dark GG and Master also
yeah, but
won,
DAC
right? I think
GG, you have to also hit Masters or know their exact tag, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think if you hide out below Masters, you can actually never be found. But no,
Unless
I
you
do
play
think it's
against somebody that is Masters, I
that's
think.
where Ruben hides his spice.
Oh yeah.
Has Ruben made Masters yet? I remember that was a big deal because he like people wanted to get
the cards,
Yeah.
right? Oh my god, Ruben's actually just blue balling us. What the hell?
Yeah.
Is hiding down in a flat.
Did we talk about how like the import deck features are like fucking amazing? It's
Oh, it's
incredible that I
amazing,
could
yeah.
just I love that end game thing. And yeah, I think that if people want to find your list, they're gonna find your list. Like if I play against you on ladder, I can look at my AR and I can see your list, right? Like
Yeah.
lists aren't secret. It's just if you're playing on ladder, like I understand the feeling of not wanting people to like this is my list. This is something I put a lot of time and effort into, and if somebody else just steals it, what did they do to earn that? Like that's bullshit. And I understand that, but like,
It also just
Actually,
kind
the
of has
biggest
this.
flex.
go ahead.
Okay. It also just like kind of has this misunderstanding of like how competitive card games work, where it's like this used to be the case, like this like anti-net decking culture like kind of existed when you're talking like 2002 and the internet didn't exist. But like since the internet existed, like oh, someone's playing like a like Freljord Demacia mid-range deck and it's playing Balin. I can like literally tell you 35 of their cards in their deck purely based off of that information. And it's like, oh, you're playing Mountain Drake instead of Udyr. I'm shocked. So creative. Like truly novel deck building. Like your decisions just aren't that wild. Like I know most of the cards in your deck because of course you're going to be
just
playing
wouldn't
like
understand, bro.
Petricite Broadway. Of course, of course.
Actually, isn't like the best thing to like when somebody took your deck and then it actually, for example, becomes meta? Isn't that like the best feeling? You know, like
Dude, unironically, like the achievement that I'm probably most proud of in LOR is like the TF Nami Shellfolk deck that went to like #1 play rate and had like an okay win rate. And it's like that felt amazing where it was like my deck is the #1 play rate deck.
I'm still
That's
proud
cool.
of my 2020, like it was EU Masters, right? The 2020 when we broke the meta, like in the first EU Masters. It was also like it's something very cool to look at.
Yeah, no, it is really cool when you like build. I'm not a deck builder, but like sometimes I build decks that like people play and it's really exciting, or like they affect meta, in like tournaments, and I think that shit's like really exciting. But I'm sure that a lot of like casual players don't necessarily see it like that or don't necessarily want that.
I don't know.
They just want to
I
win
also
with
view
their.
it with deck building where it's like people will constantly I'll see this on Reddit. It happened in Jack set a lot. People are like, why aren't you just playing the Drizzoth list? And it's like, dude, do you think I fucking know what I'm doing? Like, go change
bro.
cards. Like, I don't know. And it's
Jack
like,
set is unplayable unless it's specifically the Drizzoth list.
yeah, I mean, I remember a guy being like, I don't want to like question the High Masters player. It's like, dude, I just threw cards that I thought were okay in this deck, and it's like kind of okay. As long as you're
But
within like
deck building
5.
question them a lot, like a lot, like especially man, like when I see the further replies that he's sending, when like bro, like question the masters very often, like they
Dude,
are very often just cooking.
yeah, none of us have any goddamn clue what we're doing. Like,
I think that so for me personally, I don't build good decks, but I do think that I have a good eye for like what cards are normally good, and I'll just like throw those in, and like your deck will probably become better because we put in good cards.
yeah.
Just
So
play
yeah,
good
it just
cards.
kind of sometimes. I mean, people were asking me, you're like, oh, why are you running 0 Sky Splitter in your Broken Ball list? Why are you running Troll Chant in your TLC? And I was like, I uncritically took 80 cards from Broken Ball. There was no questioning going on here.
So you are pretending that because you don't know what you should do, that he sure knows what you're doing, right?
He knew what he was doing, bro. He did well with it. I could do well with it. Fuck it.
Exactly. Well, you did. You did even better than him. So actually,
True. That means they're actually my decks now. I think.
exactly.
I think they're
You
mine.
actually broke them at time.
Yeah, you did better, so they're yours now. It's like King of the Hill with decks. So
I think
unless
the math
Broken
checks
Ball,
out.
unless Broken Ball makes it to Worlds, plays those decks, and then wins, they're just yours now. So
You should have changed it one card though, Aikado. You should have changed one card. You should have cut one Turchin for one Firespitter and then call it to your deck. Because
That's like it's literally mine. Yeah. No, I like where your head's at. That deck probably should run Sky Splitter. By the way, there were so many times where Sky Splitter would have been really nice.
I think Firespitter is better than Turchin in a lot of spots.
Yeah, Troll Chant's a good card, but yeah. Again, uncritically took 80 cards because I'm a net decker. There's two types of people in the world. There's people against the net decking, and there's people who win tournaments. And you know what? I'm not against net decking.
Based.
oh my god, it is so funny to see like how degenerate high ladder is in LR, where like someone will come up with a list and like one day later, every good player will be playing this list to be like, okay, was this person cooking or is this deck good? And you're like,
Man,
my brother.
Infinite, man. I think Infinite is like the most like scout and like neck deck person in the world, and he's like, man, I'm just cooking,
I mean,
There was a while where like Infinite Patrons and Roji and Scathus like shaped like 5 metas in a row. Yeah.
it's not even that like someone cooks and it's good and how fast it spreads. It's someone cooks and we don't know if it's good or yet, and there's like 70 people playing this deck all of a sudden.
Yeah, like the Bram Lulu, right? Or something
Yeah.
like that. And we were like, man, well, is it actually good or not?
It is pretty funny when you like, you see someone playing something funny and you're like, oh, I'll try it out. And you instantly cue the mirror and it's like, what the fuck? How did this happen?
Uh,
We just want to be on the front end of the shifting meta, right? We want to be the
yeah, you want to be
person getting free
countering
LP.
Brom Lulu and whatever.
That's something that we just noticed that how flexible, especially I think Glass Eterna was the biggest showcase how flexible the meta is when we had the Elise Gnar, right? With the Varden. That like
Yeah.
was nowhere and then it just took over and were like for by far the most played deck. Like just how like faster people do adapt.
People will swap so fast, especially if it's to a deck that we played before. Like Jack Sorn didn't show stats until like Thursday.
Yeah.
And then like, oh yeah, this is just the best deck again. I don't know how many people played on Saturday. I don't think a ton, but like Sunday was literally all Jack Sorn.
Yeah, I mean, APAC was the lowest representation of Jack Sorin. It had 28 out of 64. That was as
Yeah,
low
it's
as it got.
snowballed. It's so funny because like earlier in the week, you remember, when everyone was on like Thresh Nasus, and like I saw 0 Thresh Nasus the entire weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Thresh Nasus wasn't gone, but it definitely wasn't like particularly played. But yeah, like
especially Draven Vibe kind of like disappeared, right? Like Draven Vibe was like the most played. Like
I
maybe it was
think
not.
I think a
it was, like,
lot of
high-
Draven Vi was just swapping to Draven Rumble,
yeah.
which like sure.
I
I
think
don't
the
think
Draven Rumble lists earlier in the week were really, really, really bad. I think that by Sunday, I was looking at like Kuvi's list. I think Kuvi's Draven Rumble list looks a lot better. It's like running real cards instead of, like just ditching its entire hand for like Grenadiers and stuff and like,
Yeah.
praying that Rumble is gonna solo the entire game.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, the list got a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, other fun things from the D&E links. So Americas believes that Piltover Zon is better than Freljord. Every other region believes Freljord is better than Piltover Zon. So what I'm hearing is nerf both. Get the fuck out of here.
Wait a second. Come on, bro. We don't need to nerf PNZ again.
I mean, the
I do
actual
think
problem.
PNZ's really strong in Eternal.
Yeah, as much as I'll sit here and say that like PNZ probably needs some nerfs, I think the real problem is that like some of these regions are fucking rotting. Like particularly when you go look at standard, but like Demacia is just dead. Like in
Well, it
Eternal.
was CS, right?
In
Like,
standard it's fine. But like
yeah.
in Eternal,
I mean,
that
in
region
Eternal, it's
doesn't
like
exist.
I think Taric Poppy was like the only Demacia deck anybody was playing all weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, Demacia was pretty non-existent. But like I brought like 9x Ballistic Bot on Saturday. Like I think that PNZ is very strong in Eternal.
I think
and that
Victor, Ballistic Bot, and especially the brand, like Get Excited, Mystic Shot, and these things are very, very perfect.
Get
Cards.
Excite's such a crazy fucking card. Oh my god, how did we make it through like 2 years of this card being in the game? Get Excite's so insane.
I think blowback caused some like overloading problems where all of a sudden like these decks just have outrageous quantities of burn.
It used to be you had to be like running decimates to have like insane amounts of burn. And then now it's just like triple Get Excite, triple Mystic, double blowback, and it's like, oh my god, I'm burning your ass out.
Yeah, I mean, people die from just outrageous quantities. I mean, I had a game where I was playing TF Neela and I put Mono Fiora to 14 on like turn 3 or something. And I had 3 units in play, and they played a Fiora, and they killed all 3 of my units. And I just came to the conclusion that my plan was, I'm not playing a unit for the rest of this game. My opponent's just dying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we had to be glad that the Whirlwind got hit because man, I cannot imagine Eterna with Whirlwind that deal 2 damage to Nexus, man.
Whirlwind was a needed hit, but like coming back to standard, I think that my issue is like Whirlwind was a needed hit. But fuck me, is Janna playable? Janna's win rate has gone up quite a bit in the last like day, but it's early patch stats, so like I don't know how real the stats are. We'll see where it's at, in a couple days actually. But yeah, I think that Janna Neela had issues where like the meta was like hard countering it as it was, and now at post nerfs, like I don't know if I don't know how playable this deck is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
I
different
mean,
thing.
my main problem with Janna, like Janna and Neela does not seem particularly good to me. But my problem with Janna is like, I feel like you could justify playing Janna in like um something like Seraphine set. The problem is like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would cut a set for it, and I don't think I'm cutting a Seraphine for it. So like, why am I even playing this card?
It was surprising me that the best performing version of Seraphine Bandle in Eternal was running like 2 Jannas. Like Janna does things, you know. She discounts, she fixes your hand, she does things. But like cutting Ezreal's for it was like so surprising. But also, I think that deck was just not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think like some of that is this thing of like, as much as people hate Ezreal and they hate getting combo killed by Seraphine plus Ezreal, if Ezreal didn't exist, that deck would just grind you into the dirt. That deck
Mhm.
would still win almost all of the games that it won now. It would just take a lot longer.
They
And
play
like,
Cat, right? But I know you are a Cat hater, but you know. They
Cat
play
is
Cat.
unnecessary. You can just deck people.
Bruh.
Oh
If
my
you
God.
say so, if you say so. Some of us respect ourselves and respect our opponents.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just get the Whimsy, right? Yeah, exactly. You respect your opponent very much. Exactly.
Whimsy, bro, Whimsy. Okay, Whimsy was the funniest card to hit. And second Whimsy was far and away the funniest card to
Yeah.
hit. But it could have been anything, man. It could
Yeah,
have
I do
been
agree with you,
anything.
but man, it was so crazy, man. Like the karma on that open went so crazy. It was the Whimsy from you. It was the death mark for BB, even though it didn't matter in the end. But like getting death mark into Eye of the Dragon perk, right, and like killing Ornn for 3 mana was just like that was so insane.
It's
Like,
so funny going to Eternal and finding all of these cards that I remember just like you would see all the time from people because like I don't know, they want to play something interesting or whatever, where it's like Deathmark. I remember all the time where I'd be playing against like these weird like pink Viego decks and they'd like play an ephemeral unit at a weird time and you're like, oh, this guy's just the fucking Deathmark player. Cause that's why they do this. Or like
I remember the fact
Syncopation
that
is the
Mark was
other
not.
card that I remember where like people would just play a weird deck and I'd be like, why is this playing Ionia? Oh, Syncopation. They're just trying to get people with that
Yeah,
card.
that was the Tristana, yeah, that was the Tristana deck, right? But
Yeah.
when did Mark stop play in beta? It was the 3 mana 5/5 elusive. It was Spooky Karma was playing that mark with the 3 mana 5/5, not elusive lifesteal, right? The
And
ephemeral.
Deathmark is a hard to interact with card. Sometimes. So like I could see it being strong, but it is funny. Karma this weekend, for a deck that I think had 0 press going into the weekend, obviously showed up incredibly strong on Sunday. It won APAC. It got
These aren't
second
gonna
in
happen.
EMEA and then got both of the finalist spots in Americas.
Yeah, I mean Karma, I mean, at some point I'll find Karma, which like argues the point, right?
Yeah.
Was it literally two? Oh no, it's a little higher.
It was Mar. I think you missed it.
Yeah.
But EU was one person. EU was BB only, the Robert Karma, and
Karma had
Yeah.
11 people and made both finalists.
Which is funny. So we had 11 Karmas in Americas. They had 1 in EMEA. And I'm not sure how many were in APAC, but Karma had a really strong weekend. And obviously, if you watch my games against 4LW, Karma didn't want to lose a game. Karma was in there to fucking make some win cons and protect some games. Karma popped off.
yeah.
The one of
Yeah,
Karma. Jesus.
one Karma made finals.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
want to go digging.
The funny thing about the Karma set list though is that like it is like 90% standard legal. I was running literally 3 cards that were not standard legal. It was 2 copies of Eye of the Dragon and 1 thermogenic beam. The rest is standard legal.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like the meta's gonna be probably different, so that's something to definitely
Sure.
consider. But it's interesting, definitely, to see that way.
yeah,
Like
as
that.
much as people like, I don't know. I don't think we should really have Karma set be viable because of how much people fucking hate that deck.
Fuck them. Fuck them. I hate Jack Soren, and that shit's been viable.
We can
Let me have
delete that one
something.
too. I'm down. I do think Karma set fulfills like a very important role, and I think like some of this like just Jack Soren just like shit is because like Karma set got gutted in standard, and we're like, you don't get anything to replace this. Just deal with it. And it's like, okay, well, like, I don't have a control deck that just like goes way over the top, and I don't have Pigeon to fucking aggro these people out. So like, all right, I guess Ornn is the best thing to be doing.
Shen Jarvan. Shen Jarvan is our control deck. That is.
Yeah.
Get Lurk. What you mean? You're the best
Bro.
deck in the format.
Yeah, they play
Lurk.
Deny and they play Vengeance. Deny is Shurima Deny and Vengeance is Pike.
I will say, with rotation coming up, right? After Worlds, next year, assumedly we're going to get a new rotation list. And people are talking about things that they want rotated. I've heard people mention Seraphine Karma Jace, and I'm like, bro, if they rotate those three, I'm done for. There's no more standard for me.
But that was the Sunny video, man. Like, and I love that. And I was sending it to Aikado, man. Like, Sunny mentioned every combo card, and I'm like, yeah, I get you, but I do agree that playing against combo is probably like when you're not like when they jerking off and stuff. It's definitely not fun to play against, but like I think
It feels like people feel worse playing against combo or control than like playing against mid range. And like whether mid range is super broken or not, whether there's 15 broken mid range decks, it doesn't really matter. Because it just feels less bad to lose against, I guess. So I don't know. It seems like there's a lot more complaints, towards aggro, combo, and control.
I think that Karma should rotate, to be honest. I think Karma, because I think Seraphine is just the healthy version of Karma.
I mean, I would criticize like some of this stuff of like, I don't know, Karma should probably go. But like, I do think Standard has a serious problem of like, you're trying to play decks and like there just aren't champions that you want to play. Like, you're sitting here and you're like, okay, I'm gonna play Shurima and I want to play like something aggressive. Am I like playing like Azir Renekton because like that's the options available to me? Like, that doesn't sound great. Or like, I don't know.
To be clear, by the way, fuck Karma. I hate Karma. I've always been a Karma hater. Literally day one Karma hater. The issue is that we just don't have options. We don't have ways to play the game, and I want ways to play the game, which is why I'm here protecting every single I'm out here fighting on the front lines at every single line to protect combo, not because I like these decks, but because I like the existence of combo, and we're losing ground.
Yeah, I do agree. I do think that, for example, Karma should get it, but I think that other things should get back though. So I think, I think that we should be having Komote, and more cards I think should go back into standard, then they're gonna leave the standard this year. Or like the next rotation.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at like Ionia Eternal Champions, like, okay, Aurelia, you probably can't have Aurelia and Azir. And I do think Azir is the more reasonable one to have around. Although, like, can I like briefly like question why are we trying to have Azir Aurelia around an Eternal? Because like people don't like Karma set. Azir Aurelia is the most hated deck of all time. Why?
The thing is, yeah, because they buffed Desert's Wrath, and I like Azir Aurelia would be really good if there wasn't just so much aggro running around, right? Like we ended up in this weird like rotation of the meta where like me playing TLC and Karma and whatever like ended up winning the tournament, but like another day and like I might have lost to a bunch of Azir Aurelia players, right? Like
yeah,
if we end up in the
like
right rotation.
So I was playing a Azir lineup exactly.
Like,
yeah.
I think Azir Aurelia is like kind of okay and like not too powerful right now, but like this is the most hated deck of all time. You probably should not let this thing be within 4 feet of being playable. Like,
yeah.
I do think so. Like one redeeming thing about Azir Aurelia that nobody wants to admit was Azir Aurelia was pretty fun. And a lot of people really like playing Azir Aurelia.
I like it.
And I think that's where it comes down to is like a lot of people did like this deck. Did everybody hate it? Yes, but also a lot of people liked playing it.
It was very fun to play as because also I can just show it on my master points. My first most played champion is Azir, second is Samara, and third is Aurelia. So
I mean, it's definitely fun to play, but like you were able to play Azir Aurelia previously, and I think buffing this deck at any point from here is just like, I don't know, like walking to a house made of newspaper soaked in gasoline with like a lit cigarette and being like, it'll be fine. Like, what's the worst thing gonna happen? Like,
but I don't know. It's eternal. I don't think I mind it. I said like we're not gonna ever rotate Aurelia back. But I think it's fine to have it in Eternal, to be honest. I think it's completely fine.
I mean, the last time we were like, it'll be fine. We can like deal with Aziralia, but like a Rioter had to change games because like we're like, it's fine. You guys are just molding, and it's like,
I mean, yeah. I think that Aziralia in Eternal we have a lot more tools. Like the fact the sheer existence of aggro just
Yeah.
like goes a long way to like hold Aziralia in check. But at the same time, I don't know if I want Aziralia to be a part of my meta triangle, you know? I don't know if I want it to be the prominent part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently Ruben has confirmed, by the way, that like Majin and I can play in the last chance qualifier this weekend, even though we're, you know, like mathematically locked. So I don't know if I'm gonna go save Donut or not, but it's an option. It's an
You
option.
should save Donut. Save Donut, bro. He
I
deserves
do
it.
find that very bizarre because like I am
It's just
not
like
allowed
not
to play.
against the
Yeah.
rules, right? Like, you know, whether it's actually good for me to be going through and knocking people out of the last chance qualifier while I'm qualified, whether that's a good thing, I don't know, but it's not against the
Yeah.
rules.
I do think it is a little different. So I think it'd be really weird and not super enjoyable if you were like basically picking Donut or some person that you knew you were like taking the spot from. I do think it's a little healthier that you're like, I have to enter into this event and I would theoretically be taking the spot from someone. I don't know who. It's a lot more
Okay.
toxic when you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm like fucking over Cup and
The
helping
issue,
Donut.
Drizzt, imagine for a second that I'm playing in the last chance qualifier and I go on a run and I'm in top 4 and I'm against Cup. And then I basically am making the decision of does Cup deserve to go to Worlds or does Donut?
If you enter the event, you better play it out to the top 2.
Yeah, there's no it would be crazy if I went in and didn't. And I just play
Chose
God
at the
there,
end.
dude.
Yeah, that's not allowed. If you enter the event, you have to be committed to play it out.
Yeah, yeah. But how funny would it be though, you know? How fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got like lethal, and you like press A, and they all flip up, and then you press A, and they all come back.
Hold Donut's heart in my hands and no, I mean it would be I think it would feel bad if I queue into like you know, like Tuxin or something, right? You know, and I'm like playing against Tuxin in top 4 and it's like, damn, this sucks, right? I probably shouldn't queue. Like I probably shouldn't.
I would
But for the content,
encourage.
you know?
I would encourage people to not queue, but I think it gets like real weird with these people that are like,
Yeah, by the way,
like
I think
masses.
only like me and Majin, it's like
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Everybody below Majin should absolutely fucking queue.
It's
100%.
you, Margin, Shrufe, and Key. I think these. I was you, I wouldn't queue. I think this is just making the most sense because you are 4, you are locked, and I think just queuing is just dumb.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Like
For the content.
imagine like, okay, Chinos is probably a better example, but like ABG has his like tag right there, so I'm gonna use him. Imagine if like Ty Guy is in top 4 playing an ABG member and is sitting there and is like, do I risk it?
It's Ty Guy against Wickhelm in the final 4.
Yeah, and you're like,
Oh.
what do you do? Like, if you knew you were qualified or whatever, you're just like, okay, teammate can get the other slot and I'll take my slot, which is already kind of weird because you're like sort of match fixing. But like, it's especially weird when you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm probably good without this slot. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
definitely weird. Yeah, I said like we are talking about it again. I think the issue is that the cutoff should be before.
Yeah, the
Just-
solution should be like, we
Yeah,
know
the
who's
cutoff should just
qualified
be
and you
right.
just don't let them play. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, great.
Agreed.
Phenomenal
Agreed.
solution.
But yeah, no, I genuinely think anyone that isn't like mathematically locked, it would be crazy for you not to queue because shit happens on ladder and like you might end up falling out. And if you fall out, you'll never forgive yourself.
Okay,
Just
okay,
queue the
but
last chance qualifier.
if you are sorry, you need 1 point. Like I think, for example, sorry like doesn't really need to queue though as well. Like you know.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
No, sorry has to queue to save Broken Ball. Everyone.
yeah.
In Americas, it's just Aikado and Majin who I think shouldn't, like, both in terms of like, it's not worth your time, and like, I think ethically you just shouldn't. And like,
Yeah, it's Shlolo in here as well, and it's Key in APEC. As well,
Alright.
the Teen Yi. Okay, I cannot read it.
Yeah,
I
second
think
place in
second
APAC
place
as
in
well.
APAC is probably also fine.
So it's literally
Yeah,
like 5 people. There's like 5 people that maybe you shouldn't queue.
and of course the
Wait.
people that already qualified, they also cannot do. Like that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Aren't there limited like tags or whatever that you can get or something?
But
Am I making this up? I'm pretty sure they're like you get like something for doing well in this tourney, right?
yeah, you
Oh
get
yeah,
some
there's
rewards,
like
yeah.
there's prestigious like cosmetic rewards that I'm forbidden from obtaining.
Yeah. How well do I have to do to get those?
I think 3 wins and 7 wins. I might be lying, but I think 3 wins is one of the
Oh,
things.
shit, maybe I ruined someone's day one then.
I do think I would criticize giving out like exclusive cosmetics for a competitive event and banning someone from playing from winning a different event.
But
Okay,
they can
so-
give you they can give it to you like
Yeah,
if
the
you put
cosmetic is like
3+
an easy
wins.
fix, but
3+ wins gives you like this badge, and then 8+ wins is a super secret badge themed around an upcoming champion. Ooh.
oh, I clicked the
Ooh.
support button. That's not what I want.
It's
Can you
it's in
link
their
me
most
this?
recent
Okay.
patch notes. I don't know if it's in this. It's
Patch-
oh, maybe it is.
patch- Oh, it's
Yeah.
here.
Good people who advance to day 2 will receive a top 64 exclusive qualifier pin. Ooh.
Yeah, like I
Ooh.
am not allowed to get this cosmetic, and it's because I won too much in a previous event. And it's like I don't
Skill
know.
issue, bro.
I'd kind of like the cosmetic that's competitive. Like that'd be cool. I don't know. I don't know if I have like
I
a
assume that
weird.
they're gonna give it to you. Like honestly, I think they're just gonna give it to Overworlds Qualified. Like it's whatever.
I would not be
Like,
surprised if they did, but like my perspective on cosmetics is I really want cosmetics that mean something rather than just like a cosmetic that shows you that I spent money. And like this is the type of cosmetic that I really like. Where like by far my favorite Guardian is the Moonstruck Poro, the blue one, because it basically says like I played this game in beta. That's what this that's what this means.
yeah.
And I
By the
mean,
way, I'm having a question. How many things win will be enough to qualify? Because we have no free wins at all. Is it gonna be like 7 wins enough to qualify in a last chance qualifier? Or
it might depend on entrance.
yeah, of
I
course
think-
depend on upgrades, but it might be like 7, 8. Yeah, I think will be probably.
I
fine.
think that like I 9 obviously gets you in. 8 will probably get a lot of people in. I don't know. 7 doesn't seem like high enough. Like
I
it
think
basically be the
Apex-
equivalent of like.
Apex will be fine. 7 will be Apex.
Oh yeah, bro. Apex one might make it at 5. Like who fucking?
Oh, APAC.
That shit would be funny though, huh? That would be funny if someone makes it at 5 and then like goes on a run in Top Cut.
Yeah, he wins
Yes.
more games in Top Cut than in the day one. Because you need to win 6, right, to win the world.
Yeah, that'd be so fucking funny.
Also, funny thing, I don't know if it's, but I know that Ted was talking about it that there's gonna be, because it's in client. Even though you qualified, you still can play the final because top 2 qualifies, but because it's a client, there's still gonna be the game happening.
Yeah, you still have to play it, right?
Yeah, I guess you don't have to. You cannot.
I guess you could just like not check in, but that's coward shit. It's about the clout.
I don't think so, Pokey King. I think that gets like real dubious to start like not just fairly splitting the slots. And like, I don't know, if a region was sending just like bad players to Worlds, I think maybe you start having a conversation, but like APAC is sending
Suppose
good
okay,
players,
yeah.
and like we're not short on good players. Like there are good
The
players
chat question
here.
was whether or
Also-
not APAC should have fewer world points. Sorry for audio listeners.
Yeah.
That was the chat
I
question.
also think that's of course thinking that APEC did back to back better than Americas in the world. So like and Americas had more slots back in the time. So like should I like America had like 1 slot only, I think, but that was just Aikado get it in, and that's all.
That works for me.
Okay.
That's less competition.
Actually, if you think about it, if you actually power level, then I think like EME had like 50 slots, fewer for APEC and 1 Americas. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that APAC should just have all the slots. It should actually just be an APAC tournament that we all just like send like 1 or 2 people to.
Oh, because you had the Aikado APEC account. Oh, I get you.
I mean,
understand.
I mean, let's look at like metas. So Americas played 29 Jax Ornn, APAC played 28 Jax Ornn, and EMEA played 32 Jax Ornn. So by my very scientific analysis, EMEA is by far the worst region. because they play more Jax Ornn, and fuck that deck. So
By far the best region because they have the players have brain and they play the best deck.
they have to get carried by Jax Ornn, is what I'm hearing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it sounds right to me. I mean, or they're just smarter than us. And they just brought more Jaxorn. Like maybe they're just smarter than us.
Yeah. Of
Damn.
course we are.
You hate to see it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do we got going on? So Thanksgiving this weekend, last chance qualifier next weekend. Next week is going to be ladder cutoff as well as new cards being revealed, assumedly, right?
29 is the tiebreaker, right? Yeah, the 29
Yeah.
is the tiebreaker in APEC, most likely happening. So
Which is incredible. If we could it wouldn't be haha funny if we rigged EMEA so that we could also get the grudge
Yeah.
matches there. I think that would be. I just want more content, you know.
It's gonna be excellent content. Like, you just get to watch people duke it. It's like EMEA finals, just straight up. Two people play.
Wait, if a question, if Easy gets 2 points, he also gonna have grudge match, no? Wouldn't he? With because he gets 2 points for the top 100. And then
we
he
would
will
have
be
a
with
grudge
Chino.
match, right? With Chinos?
No, because Maitri.
Oh, Maitri, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah. There would have to be a coalition. I was talking with Keith on Twitter because Keith was like 1 point off or something of getting a grudge match. So if there's a coalition that gatekeeps every single player who's up there from getting top 25 except for Keith, so that Keith gets in, that would be
Just
the
make 25, yeah, as if the 25 accounts and just like yeah.
exactly.
So y'all obviously, like, ladder is important. There are people who are gonna miss Worlds because they didn't grind enough ladder in one season. But do you remember like previous Worlds qualification where like ladder just was the thing that mattered? Where like
yeah, where literally you just qualified to Worlds.
Off
But
ladder.
not only that, not only did you qualify directly to Worlds through ladder, which was a thing, you also got like the fucking tiebreakers for the seasonals that also qualified you for Worlds. Ladder was the only thing that mattered.
Yeah, ladder was every path was like, hey, go play ladder.
Guys who had almost every time fucking 7-2 spot, you know? Like I think in the end, I think a lot of my seasonal tops was like mostly because I just every time tiebreaker because I like a ladder, right?
I think I got 7-2. I think I got 7-2 tiebreakers like twice, maybe 3 times. I'm just not a ladder grinder. That's not me.
Like
So, yeah,
I didn't get it one time only.
I got a lot of 7-2 spots, and I did not top cut a whole lot of seasonal. So. It's very bizarre because like, so I haven't actually done that badly in LR, but like I did not feel particularly good about my like resume in LR going into like opens instead of seasonals because like I had a couple of top cuts, but I didn't have anything incredible, and like all of a sudden with like opens, I'm doing great.
A little different. Once you start cutting to top 64 instead of 32, Truth thrives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even just that, although I'm sure that does help, but it's like my worst record in a open was 7-3, and I've had like no buys. So that is not the case in seasonals. I've done very bad in seasonals.
Maybe you're good. Are you winning Worlds then? That's the
maybe
question.
we'll see.
Yeah. I think someone from Americas has to win it at this point. We have to at least make finals. I mean, it's been 2 in a row where we haven't made it.
I double clicked on my name, which makes this feel like a Freudian slip where I'm flexing. But
I can give you top 8, take it or leave it. And like last time you made only Mate made top 8, so maybe top 8. It's like
I mean, I legitimately think America's is sending the best player. And it is flopping.
I'm pretty sure that EMEA is the best player, and it's Cass.
I do not think Cass is better than flopping.
I like the scary thing is that they're gonna prepare together, right? So
yeah, I mean, I do think Cass is up there, but
the real question is just like how many of it, how was it cut to top 16 or something, top 8,
16.
So the question is how many of top 16 are going to be RPG members? That's the real question.
I mean, as much as like the start of the season when it was like floppy card gamer Cass like just dominating the
Chekhov.
things. Like RPG like had a pretty mopey second half of the year. Like
Did
I
they,
wouldn't
like,
call
do
it
both of those?
bad.
Quit playing. I think most
Yeah.
are
Are they
just like
playing though? Like,
I mean, Cup was definitely playing. Chekhov definitely checked the hell out, which like sure. But like for how dominant they were at the start, and like certainly like Floppy still did well and whatever, and like they didn't do badly, but
I'm pretty sure Floppy like top 16 like the first like 6 tournaments of this year or something. You know, and like won a couple of them. Right?
Floppy
Like
topped
minimalist.
unless Floppy played this previous one, and I don't know about it. Floppy top cut every tournament he played. He skipped
good.
some tournaments, but if he played a tournament, he top cut.
okay, I want to be okay. I get you, but I forgot about one EU player, of course, and that's Boxer. I don't know. Did
Oh, fuck.
Floppy top the tournament twice?
Oh,
I don't think
fuck.
so. Like Boxer is that good that he topped one tournament twice. You know, like I don't know. Like
Yeah, I
actually, Boxer is winning the worlds, man. Like that's the story, and it's with Seraphin SI, the worst day that I've ever seen. But he's winning with it. I don't know how, but he just wins with it. I don't know. Like the deck is so bad, but. Yeah.
I only topped 7 of the opens this year. Boxer topped 7 times in the first 3 opens.
Dude, I'm just like blown away that this man was like top cut a tournament, locks onto a Smurf, top cuts again. And it's like,
Then locks in with both, you know, like.
why? Like, I don't even understand because like you're cheating, and you're not even cheating for a reason.
No, you wouldn't get it. The next one was you work. They top cut and they say fuck it, I go play on the Smurf and then lose after 4 rounds. It's like,
Yeah, then they win the tournament. I just don't get it. Like he
what was your
top
end
cut,
game?
then he went 3-3, and then he win the same. I don't know.
Did
Just
anyone check how
incredible.
well did he do? How well did he do this last weekend?
Somebody met him. I think Kurashi met him or something like that. And yeah, but he didn't top.
Oh wow. Okay, he's
But
fallen.
Was
I
he
think he
playing
played-
Seraphine SI?
I think he was. Yeah.
There's no way, bro. There's no... I don't know, man. My faith in EU winning just plummeted once I heard that Boxer didn't even top this last tournament. Oh my god.
He's
Yeah,
just
man, the
evening
best
out the
player ever.
average, getting it back to 1 per event.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, man. I can't wait for the for the casters to cast Boxer, man. It's gonna be.
I mean, as much fun as it is, I don't know. I have my
the
strong
chat's gonna
takes on
be-
what
yeah.
should have happened, but like, we shouldn't disqualify him at this point. He should be allowed to
course.
play at this point, and like, it's gonna be real shitty on the broadcast because people are gonna be
Yeah.
real pissed off.
I mean, in chat, especially, they're gonna be like, yeah, it's gonna be. I'm kind of worried about that. That it's gonna like, yeah, like.
So on one hand, absolutely, it's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of people talking shit. You know, it'll be sad on the broadcast. On the other hand, I want to actually see Boxer play, bro. He's been fucking like blacklisted from broadcast this entire time.
Yeah, we do
We're-
have obligated webcams, which is pretty cool.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. We get
That
to
was
find
also
out what
last
everyone looks
time.
like.
It was last. Oh, we're gonna see Boxer. Oh my god. And do you
Oh,
see?
yeah.
And
I mean, I
man,
guess
it's gonna-
I was given the information of like, if you can't get a webcam, you need to inform us immediately. And it's like,
yeah, they
okay, I
were
guess-
sending last time. It was also necessary last time, what I remember. So yeah.
Boxer
they're gonna
did play
do it
Seraphine SI. Oh my fucking god. Eternal Open. Doesn't matter. Homie's committed. He's committed to his queen.
But okay, I get you. Okay, Seraphine SI is not that good in Eternal, but you know what Worlds is? You know, that's standard, man. So.
Oh shit. Oh shit. You're so right. Oh, and he brought Jax on, bro. He literally just bringing the same lineup every tournament.
Yeah.
yeah, it was in the Discord for Worlds Qualification communication. I mean, it's not like secret. It's just it has a specific purpose. So
Yeah.
Or is it secret? And you're leaking. You're leaking.
Oh wait, you
information.
just leaked it. Oh, okay. I think
that it
actually-
exists. Yeah, keep buyout. Aikado can join though.
Can we disqualify Jason and get me in? You know, what about that smiley face? You know, like he's leaking things. You know.
If Drew South gets disqualified, I think it's Donut that gets a spot. You know.
Nah.
Both their
Just
names start
me.
with D. They're both from the same region. I mean, it's natural. It's natural.
Okay,
Buy it. You winning this weekend?
What?
Are you winning this weekend?
I'm winning? Of course I'm winning.
Okay.
No, actually, I figured out I'm gonna end second apparently. After sorry, first they're gonna be sorry, and I'm gonna be second.
Nice. Are you gonna be preparing hard? Are you grinding hard for it?
Yeah, I took a little bit day off, but yeah, now I'm gonna be grinding a lot and gonna be trying to figure out the meta, hopefully.
Well, I'm wishing you luck, buddy. I want to see you at Worlds for the third time. God Gamer. Although if you don't make it, that would have us tied in Worlds appearances, which actually sounds easier for me to flex about. So actually, I mean, it's good for me either way.
And how many Worlds appearances do each of you have? Hopefully, BaJAtak does not make the next one, so I can continue to flex about this.
Wait, what's the question?
How many Worlds appearances is that you will be
Oh, are
tied
we
on?
counting getting into the qualifier as a Worlds appearance? Is that where we're?
Oh my god. I wouldn't count that.
This
That's
guy,
fair.
bro.
That's fair.
That wasn't the worst, man.
I mean, you only got in the top cut by beating a terrible player. Like it doesn't even count.
Wait, what'd
But
you
you
say?
know,
I'm saying you only got in the top cut by beating a terrible player, so it doesn't really count.
but also something to definitely mention is that like LCQ is coming in, and who's good of the LCQ, who has 15 to record in last chance qualifiers, basically. It's me. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, so you basically have to do that again, right? You have to go 6 plus 8, 14. You have to go like 14-2 again.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
make it
yeah,
double
we can.
elimination so BaJAtak's in his element and just to make sure
Yeah,
he
wait,
loses
yeah,
round
I
one and just goes.
Day 2 is not double. That's fucked. I always lose first round, man. Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
All right.
no,
Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about?
I'm out of stuff, so
I don't think so.
good luck,
So, thank you,
BaJAtak.
guys.
If he does not win, we are cutting him out and replacing him with Roji. So he better win. Everyone, go cheer him along.
Getting it out of my own podcast. Oh my god. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. We're gonna be making more episodes in the future. There might be some breaks. Follow us on Twitter. We're gonna be updating. We also plan already some the yearly talk and stuff, but that's something that's gonna be happening in the future. So check out our social and see you in the next episode.
See you.
Okay, bye.